Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. Empress Dowager Cixi, one of the most controversial women in Chinese history, lived a life full of grand court struggles and fluctuating power. From an ordinary Manchu girl to the de facto ruler of the Qing dynasty, Cixi's rise is a legendary tale filled with wisdom, intrigue, and strategy. Here, we will explore in detail how Cixi ascended from the rank of Lady Lan to the pinnacle of power in the complex and ever-changing Qing court, and analyze how she used her beauty, intelligence, and tactics to secure her position and eventually control the governance of the Qing Empire. In the second year of Emperor Qianlong's reign, 1852, the Qing dynasty was facing both internal and external crises. Externally, it was reeling from the impact of the Opium War, and internally, it was threatened by peasant uprisings such as the Taiping Rebellion. Although Emperor Qianlong was on the throne, he faced a weakening empire. That year, a large-scale selection of concubines took place in the palace, during which Emperor Qianlong chose several young women to enter the harem. Among them was a 17-year-old girl from a humble Manchu family, who would later become Empress Dowager Cixi. Cixi was born into the Manchu Yahenra clan, and her father held only a fifth-rank official position in the social hierarchy of the Qing dynasty at the time. Her family's status was not prominent and was far from powerful enough to contend with the noble families of the court. However, due to her exceptional beauty, Cixi stood out in the selection process and was chosen by Emperor Qianlong to enter the palace as Lady Lan. Yet, her title as a noble lady ranked only fifth in the harem's seven-tier system, placing her among the lower-ranking concubines, which greatly dissatisfied Cixi. It is worth mentioning that when people think of Cixi, many may picture the common photograph of her in old age, an elderly woman with a withered face and a cold, gloomy expression. However, it is important to note that this photograph was taken between 1903 and 1905 when Cixi was nearly 70 years old. At such an age, time would inevitably leave irreversible marks on anyone's face, especially someone like Cixi, who had spent many years struggling for power, exhausting her mind and body. Nevertheless, in her youth, Cixi was indeed a stunning beauty. Princess Derliang, who once served as Cixi's attendant, described Cixi's appearance in her book. The Empress Dowager in her youth was a graceful and radiant maiden. Even in her old age, she still retained a certain charm. The American painter Catherine Carl, who painted Cixi's portrait, also mentioned in her memoir, every part of the Empress Dowager's body was in perfect proportion. Her beautiful face was complemented by her delicate hands, slender figure, and glossy black hair, creating a harmonious whole. These descriptions attest to the fact that in her youth, Cixi's beauty captivated many. To Emperor Qianlong, Cixi was not only a woman of exceptional beauty but also possessed unique intelligence and talent. Historical records indicate that Cixi was skilled in calligraphy and painting, eloquent, and even had insightful views on state affairs. These qualities allowed her to stand out among the many concubines in the harem and gradually win the favor of Emperor Qianlong. However, despite her striking beauty, beauty alone was not enough to maintain long-term favor in the Qing palace, where the harem was filled with beautiful women. At the time, Emperor Qianlong's three favored concubines were Lady Yun, Lady Li, and Lady Mei. Lady Yun had been a favored consort even before Qianlong ascended the throne, and their bond was deep. Lady Li was extraordinarily beautiful and adept at charming the emperor, while Lady Mei was clever and often brought novelty to the emperor. In such a competitive environment, Cixi realized that relying solely on her beauty would not secure her long-term favor. She began to meticulously take care of her appearance, following the advice of palace maids to drink fragrant dew daily to maintain a pleasant scent, apply egg white to her face to keep her skin smooth, and even bathe in breast milk to make her skin soft and fair. After some time, Cixi transformed from an inexperienced young girl into a woman full of mature allure. In 1854, Lady Li became pregnant, and Cixi saw this as her opportunity. Emperor Qianlong, focusing more on Lady Li due to her pregnancy, reduced his attention to the other concubines. Cixi seized this moment and, using her unique charm, regained the emperor's favor. From then on, Emperor Qianlong not only doted on her in daily life but also began to rely on her for handling certain state affairs. Cixi's intelligence and interest in government matters made her stand out. And Qianlong often gave her memorials to read and even allowed her to approve them. With the emperor's favor, Cixi swiftly rose from noble lady to noble consort within 5 years, steadily gaining power. No longer content with simply being a favored consort, she began to involve herself in state affairs, gradually starting to exercise her political acumen in the Qing court. In the Qing dynasty court, it was common for concubines to elevate their status through motherly honor by bearing a son. Cixi deeply understood that only by giving birth to a son could her position truly be secured. In 1855, Cixi finally became pregnant. However, to avoid jealousy and harm from other concubines in the harem, she chose to keep the news a secret, informing only Emperor Qianlong. Qianlong was delighted by the news, but Cixi advised him not to announce it publicly to prevent conflicts within the harem. In 1856, Cixi gave birth to the emperor's first son, Zichuan, who would later become Emperor Tongji. In celebration, Qianlong granted amnesty across the empire and promoted Cixi to the rank of noble consort. The birth of Zichuan marked a significant rise in Cixi's status. In the palace, Cixi, using her position and intellect, gradually eliminated her rivals in the harem to ensure her and her son's power. Some historians have remarked that Cixi's rise in the harem was not only due to her beauty and intelligence but also her skillful use of power and strategy. After being promoted to noble consort, her main rivals were concubine Yun, noble Lady Li, and concubine Mei. Through carefully crafted schemes, Cixi systematically removed these opponents. Records state that concubine Yun, accused by Cixi of stirring unrest, committed suicide. Noble Lady Li lost Emperor Qianlong's favor after her appearance was ruined by skincare products gifted by Cixi. And after giving birth to Qianlong's second son, concubine Mei's child died from poison orchestrated by Cixi, leading to Mei's mental collapse and loss of standing. Through a series of intrigues and strategic moves, Cixi successfully ensured that her son Zichuan remained Emperor Qianlong's only heir. After Qianlong's death, Zichuan ascended the throne as Emperor Tongji, and Cixi naturally became Empress Dowager, beginning her decades-long rule. It is said that after Emperor Qianlong's death, the young Tongji emperor took the throne, and Cixi, along with Empress Dowager Cixi, jointly held supreme power over the court. Although nominally equal in status, Cixi, with her political acumen, soon gained the upper hand in palace struggles. During her time governing from behind the curtain, Cixi displayed exceptional political skills. She skillfully controlled key ministers in the court and, through a series of political maneuvers, gradually secured the real power of the Qing dynasty in her hands. Although there is much controversy surrounding her governance, it is undeniable that she left a profound impact on Chinese history. In her later years, the Qing dynasty was already in decline, though she held immense power. The corruption and incompetence of the Qing government became increasingly apparent in the face of internal strife and external threats. The defeats in the First Sino-Japanese War and the invasion by the Eight-Nation Alliance further amplified the criticism of Cixi's rule. However, Cixi's life was full of complexity. As a woman, she ascended to the pinnacle of power in a male-dominated society, despite the highly unfavorable circumstances. Although her rule remains contentious, her position in Chinese history is unshakable. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone, and see you in the next time.